Good day, welcome to Music Motors. Welcome to the 2019, although this will be released in 2020, Seat Leon Cupra R. This is something special and within reason is the last in a long line of Cupras under the Seat name, because from now on within reason it's going to be under this separate segment of Cupra. Now when this started out life at £38,000 it had 300 PS roughly. However, with a £500 factory option AWD tuning pack, it pushes us up to 350 PS, 440 Newton meters of torque, knocks your 0 to 60 time down from 4.9 to 4.7, ups your fuel economy just a tiny bit. But also being the R gives you amazing aesthetical cues, an immersive driving experience, and a great sound, thanks to a slightly tuned exhaust. So in this episode of Music Motors, I'm going to be talking about that car, this Seat Leon Cupra R 350 all-wheel drive DSG. Around town, you probably have a little bit of interest as to how this reacts. So I'm not going directly into the centre of London, I'm not going into heavy traffic, but I am going to be doing more B-roady, C-roady type stuff. So driving it 50, 40, 30, nothing too fast. Might be a little bit of traffic, but nothing too heavy. But just seeing what this can turn around on that trip. So the camera decided to shut off right at the beginning, and I didn't notice it until about halfway through the last third of the journey. So I turned it on then. But honestly, prior to that, there was quite a lot of town driving, and this ended up turning around 35.4 to the gallon in that town-esque driving situation. If you were in heavy traffic around town, you would only see probably about 23-24 miles to the gallon. As combined between the two, you'd probably see about 33. But for this town journey, it deals with potholes and bumps and rubbish road surfaces really well. It's comfortable, easy to drive, good visibility, warm, good infotainment system to give you music on that commute. It does a good job of everything. Outside, the Leon has a look which, I mean, to be fair, they've had for quite a few years, but definitely does look quite good. It does have sharper lines to be, you know, almost echoing those of the rest of the cars in the Volkswagen Audi group, but equally they're somewhat unique to Seat themselves. It is a very unique look that I like, and they have it throughout their range. It is a very Seat design language, but being the R, it has a few extra bits and pieces. So on the front, it does have a very nice Cupra finish with additional bits and pieces like your front diffuser, carbon. This one has LED headlights, so it has an LED surround on it as well. So it looks really quite cool. Cupra badging on the front, just to let people know, if you see that bronze, I have a little bit more power than you. Side profile, incredibly sweeping long lines, lovely finish, touches of carbon fibre here and there, 19-inch alloys which are not diamond cut per se, but they are an incredibly lovely to look at design, which no matter how dirty they get, it looks good. Now this car is actually finished in Blackness grey, a unique name to say the very least, but it's a colour which looks good, clean, and looks epic dirty too. So you don't mind throwing this around some B roads at this time of year, December, because it's going to look good no matter what finish you put on it. So that side profile looks incredible. Leads you to the back end very nicely, which is a very well finished and well designed, nicely proportioned back end. Good light cluster. You have a extra spoiler, carbon spoiler on the back, lower carbon diffuser, you know, twin exhausts at the back to let people know you mean business, and Cupra badging just to let people know even more if they didn't know. The outside of this, even though it is quite shouty with extra bits of carbon fibre here and there, it's surprisingly low key, it's surprisingly sleeper. It is quite a sleeper to look at if you don't know what you're looking at. If you know what you're looking at though, it most definitely is not a sleeper. Aesthetically, I find that this fits in anywhere that you want to put it within reason. It can fit into your multi-storey car park with a decent lot and not be too big, but look amazing enough to stick out, but not so much so that it's a target to be keyed, things pushed into. And equally, it can fit outside a school, a supermarket, the Ritz, wherever you want to put it, and it still looks good. This is an exceptionally capable car aesthetically to go wherever it needs to go, even though it's a special edition, a limited edition. It's not so shouty, but is at the same time, it's kind of a weird one. It is gig test time. This is a long old day. All my equipment's in the back. I've got a few bits to do, multiple road driving scenarios, and this is to see what it's like to live with, what the fuel economy is like, everything in one test. First bit done, 31.4 miles to the gallon thus far. So it's doing pretty well. Very comfortable, very easy to drive on the motorway, and has more than enough get up and go to get in front of any queue that you accidentally get stuck in within reason without being too stupid. So far really good. See you in 3 hours. And I'm ready to go on to the next bit. More combined run, more comfortable driving, I hope. No traffic. Please, no traffic. So yesterday didn't go quite to plan. I ran out of batteries very fast and forgot to bring any with me. A little awkward, but over the course of 165 miles in a day, I averaged 31.4 miles per gallon. It was a combined run. If I was on a back road and I was stuck behind someone at 40 and there was a place to overtake, I didn't stay behind them in the cause of economy. I overtook them because this car can do stuff like that very easily. And I still got that fuel economy figure. It was really impressive. And the biggest thing is it's actually quite quiet and very comfortable on longer drives. On B roads, it's really engaging and it makes the drive fun. It's not a laborious long journey anymore. It's a really engaged and enjoyable drive. It doesn't like really unstable road surfaces on the finest of Britain's back roads too much. It deals with them, but you can definitely tell it feels a bit more unsettled. But from an everyday point of view, it's comfortable, it's cozy, it's easy to drive, it gets you out of trouble without question. You really couldn't ask for more from a vehicle, and it looks fantastic. So on top of the fact that it then took all my equipment in the boot without question, means that it's a total pass for a gig test for me. When you get from that intriguing exterior, you get to an interior which on first impression feels dated, feels old, feels like older technology, but in reality actually isn't. It does have bundles and bundles and bundles of technology, and it's very, very nice to be in, but because of the design that they've got of it, it makes you think, oh, they haven't changed much since 2015. They have, they really have, but it just kind of implies that they haven't. So from a driving point of view, you do have the digital cluster display, that same kind of TFT display as you'd see on things like a Golf R or on a S3 and stuff like that. You then have a nice infotainment screen, a good size, which gives you things like Apple CarPlay, full link, so Android Auto, Mirror Link, everything. And that system is very easy to use, and as standard, the sound system is great. It's not massively loud, but it is incredibly clear, incredibly punchy. So up front, everything is within fingertip reach, within reason, and these seats, these Alcantara bucket seats, are so comfortable, so holding, so incredible that you seriously don't want to get out on the other end. And they're heated as well, which also means that on cold days like this, you're extra cozy in here. Alcantara steering wheel means that you feel like you've got a proper direct connection with this car, and you never want to let go. It is a seriously smooth and lovely wheel. And to be fair, visibility from the driving point of view is very good. There's no massive blind spots to worry about. Everything else, there's sensors to let you know. When it comes to the rear legroom, it's reasonable. No better, no worse than something like a Golf R. But equally is still quite a nice place to go. You do have your USB sockets. It does have ISOFIX. It could be used as a family car. It does have a reasonable amount of space. However, there's just not a lot going on back there. But this is a car which is made for a driver. Boot space wise, very, very good. Passes my gig test with absolute flying colours. Fits everything in. Good load height, good amount of stuff. A little bit of wheel ingress, so wider items do struggle a little bit more, but not so much so that you can't use it. It is a very usable boot space. I would have liked to have seen something like, you know, automatic tail opening, but as a special edition, a more track performance focused car, what really should I have expected? Inside is quite comfortable on the run, doesn't really get too OTT, and is a really nice place to be. Every person in this car will be held incredibly well, and I mean, if you were that way inclined, you could even use it as a taxi because you got 5 seats, and I did one lot with 5 people in this car, and obviously it didn't struggle, but equally they didn't seem to squashed in. Now, performance-wise, so 4.7 to 62, it's 350 PS, 440 Newton meters of torque, 155 top speed. This is all slightly higher than the standard R because this has the AWD tuning pack option, the £500 option, and an absolute no-brainer if you were asking me. Now, on top of stuff like that, it does have revised suspension, it does have Brembos up front, it does have a slightly tweaked exhaust, and it does have extra aero. So it all in all kind of adds into a exceptionally well finished, performance inspired and performance towards type of vehicle. This is the type of vehicle that can be driven so hard on the track and then deal with B-roads on the way home, and it won't shred its tyres, to be fair, either. From that performance point of view, the steering feels, whilst not totally 3D, not giving you loads and loads of feedback, gives you more feedback than something like a Golf R or an Audi S3 is quite impressive, considering it's, within reason, the same platform. And then that steering wheel is just so incredibly nice to drive with. Put that with the fact that it is quite direct, so you do get a bit of feedback. It is a lovely, lovely thing. The throttle response has a big question mark over it because it does depend what mode you're in. If you're in your Cupra mode, it's absolutely fine, but you do have a slight delay. DSG boxes inherently do have a bit of delay while they think about what's going on. Brake feel though, incredible. Really, really lovely, lovely weight, really responsive as you need it to be, and they get you up to speed and stop without question. Mega, mega, mega fast. Really, this feels composed in anything I put it in. The only time it didn't were very specific sections of road where this starts to feel a little bit unsettled. While this suspension, revised as it is, does deal with a lot of very, very nasty roads and potholes and undulations very well, there is a limit. That limit's pretty far up there, and to be fair, you're talking about something which a Golf R is going to struggle with as well. This actually deals with it better. Economy-wise, I know you might be interested, but I'll just quickly touch on it. You are looking at maximum 33. Realistically combined, about 28. That's combined over 190 miles, 6 hours of driving, average 31 mile an hour. So it's 27.9, 28 miles per gallon seems to be what I average around. On a run by itself, you can see up to 38. I did see 38. I've heard of other journalists getting 38, but do expect 36 because you'll want the perfect conditions. And around town, about 22, 23. But by all means, no worse than a Golf R or an Audi S3. So quite decent in the fact that it's more powerful and a better driving experience. So overall then, it looks great from the outside, and it really, really does look great. The front end is just refined and sleek and sporty. The side profile, again, perfect proportions, leading you to an immense back end. The interior is a lovely place to be, brilliantly finished, packed with more technology than you could need, and performance is second to none. This is the best driving on the platform in the segment, I think, by far, within this exact Volkswagen platform. Of all of them, this does it best.